My name is Max, and we are back for another reaction. Today we're going to be checking out Tom Hiddleston. Guys, if you are new here, I am a communication skills coach, and what I do is I help people with their communication skills. So thanks for being here. If you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button. Today I'm looking forward to checking out a couple clips of Tom Hiddleston. This will be my first time checking him out. I'm looking forward to it, and I hope you enjoy. Let's get started with the video.
You're on Broadway. Congrats on the great reviews for this play. I want to get to talk about that, but you walked through Times Square to get to the theater, and you ran into some of your Avenger friends. And
yes, they resembled some of my Avengers.
You guys see Tom there? Tom did not move. Like, Tom literally sat still, looked directly at Jimmy while he was speaking, so he was showing good listening skills that way. It wasn't looking away, he looked very engaged, but he didn't move a muscle. Just in that very moment, and this is my very first impression of Tom, he seemed to be very present with Jimmy. And that's a good sign of a solid communicator right there, someone who's present with you.
I want to talk about the Disney Plus series, Loki.
Yes.
You're getting your own show.
Unbelievable.
This is giant.
It's happening.
I mean, come on, that's fun.
Yeah, it is amazing.
He's letting Jimmy sort of dictate the pace here. Like I said, I use the word patient. Seems quite patient, seems relaxed, seems very comfortable in his own skin right off the bat. Notice his demeanor. You know, he doesn't seem uptight or rigid while he's listening to Jimmy.
But you were telling me backstage that when you auditioned for Thor, you actually auditioned for Thor.
I did. Yes, I did. They were basically at the time.
So really waiting for Jimmy to finish speaking before he starts speaking. I think that's something we can learn as communicators. Oftentimes when we're in conversation, we speak before the other person's actually finished their thought. You know, we're giving that person the opportunity to finish. We're letting that person know that we're listening to them, that we care about what they have to say. And it also just shows a sign of confidence and comfort within ourselves. And I think Tom's sort of displaying that in small ways here. It's like, I don't need to speak. He's not coming across as a guy who needs to sell himself.
At the time, they were looking for sort of less well-established actors so that the audience didn't have an association. They just wanted people to see these new characters, these new actors.
Yeah.
I really actually like his delivery. I like his demeanor. I like his style. I wouldn't say he's soft-spoken, but he's definitely got a calm delivery. You know, again, I think there's just sort of a sense of comfort and calmness.
They were looking for sort of less well-established actors.
And notice how he's not projecting his voice when he's speaking, where you see a lot of people in these talk show interviews like really putting on a show and emphasizing different words, and where this is kind of like his real tone in his living room. And I think that's a big part of why people feel connected to certain people, is because of that natural tone that feels real. And I'm certainly getting that vibe from Tom so far here.
I only ever auditioned for Thor, which is nuts.
And how long did the audition process? I mean,
It was about 3 months.
Well, so you thought for a second, you go, this is really, I could be Thor.
I could, for a second, for a second, yeah.
Whereas like Jimmy's on the contrary, very big and obvious with his movements. You see, he was like really leaning in and listening to Tom. And then when Tom said something, it's like he backed up like 2 feet there.
It was about 3 months.
Well, so you thought for a second, you go, this.
So he's like, makes it a point to show the person that he's listening, almost like he's overdoing it compared to Tom, where it's just like, and I understand Jimmy's the host and, you know, it's important for him to be engaging, but I'm just sort of making a comparison and a contrast to Tom, who's showing that he's listening, he's showing that he's present, but he doesn't need to be extra in his movements. He doesn't need to emphasize that he's listening. He's just listening.
Loosely, yes. I play a publisher called Robert, and married to Emma, a gallerist, and there's my best friend Jerry, who was best man at our wedding, and Jerry and Emma have been having an affair.
Betrayal.
See that pause there? He let the audience react. He doesn't seem flustered at all. It's like, okay, just gonna wait for the audience to die down and then I'll speak. We don't need to rush through our message or our conversation or our presentation. I understand, right? It can feel awkward when there's silence, but getting used to that silence is a skill. And I think what that does is it shows our confidence in ourselves. It shows our confidence in our message.
And it's very sad, and it's also very funny, and it's told in reverse order. It's a masterpiece. It's Harold Pinter's masterpiece.
I don't know how you, I mean, you cry on, like, in this play, and you do this every play? Do you cry
every 8 shows a week, yeah.
Really locked in on Jimmy when Jimmy's speaking. And Tom, just in that last little bit there, did a good job emphasizing his point with his gestures.
And it's very sad, and it's also very funny, and it's told in reverse order.
It reinforces our point. It brings more engagement to our point. And also, when he's ending his sentences, although he's not looking the entire time always at Jimmy, he's making sure to end his point while looking at Jimmy to gauge his reaction and to make it known that he's there with him.
Could you cry on command, like right now, if I said, please cry for us?
God, okay. The thing about Baby Yoda is that I just love him.
Oh my God! That is how you do it, right?
Holy shit, that's impressive.
Oh my God! Bro! Tom Hiddleston, everybody!
That's really impressive. Wow, and like he just like broke character immediately, like right after he went back to smiling. Really liked my first impression of him, and now we're gonna check out another clip of him actually doing some impressions.
Tom Hiddleston does impressions. You do impressions of lots of people, so who's in your canon?
It's a expression of admiration, just to be clear. So I do impressions of people that I admire, and I sort of listen to them. The first time I did an impression...
Yeah, definitely a little bit of a different demeanor from Tom here. I'm guessing he was maybe a bit younger here, but I think being in Robert De Niro's presence would probably scare or intimidate the majority of the world. But you can see just there in that little tell, he went down to scratch his ankle, and he's just a little more fidgety and less relaxed as he was with Jimmy Fallon.
Impressions of people that I admire, and I sort of listen to them. The first time I did an impression...
We might have an extra second or two to mask our words with confidence or comfort, but it's harder to do that with our body language because it's so instinctual, and we see that there. So, but a different look here from our boy Tom Hiddleston, huh? Short hair. He's looking cool here. He's looking fresh.
Oh, no. I'm from now. I go back in time. There's a time machine. And, it's kind of cool, and it's kind of woody, and it's kind of awesome.
And I like the strategy here. I don't know if Tom's actually going to be doing a De Niro impression, but he's sort of warming his audience up. I can do other impressions first. I'm not going to do yours right away. It's something we can actually learn. Warming them up to trust us more and to like us more before we say something that could be perceived as a little more controversial or different or offensive.
You know, I feel like what this show needs is more cowbell.
I like that.
Yeah, De Niro's impressed.
There's a scene in the middle of the film, which you'll be familiar with. You were there. Anyway, so there's a bit where they sit and have coffee and have tea and talk about stuff. I'm going on, I apologize. Anyway, so Al Pacino...
A split second after Robert De Niro just broke eye contact with Tom, Tom immediately said, I know I'm going on here, I'm rambling on here.
They sit and have coffee and have tea and talk about stuff. I'm going on, I apologize.
When we're speaking to a group of people, you know, if we're aware of their body language and who's tuned in and who's not tuned in, we can start adjusting our speech. And Tom making a quick adjustment there on the spot.
But if it's between you and some poor bastard whose wife you're gonna turn into a widow, brother, you are going down. What if you do got me boxed in? I'm not gonna put you down, but I will not hesitate. Not for a second.
That's my...
Okay, I mean, a very skilled impersonator, I gotta say, but I would say the De Niro one was probably the weakest. And it could have been because Robert De Niro was right in front of him.
No, that's
It's a great piece of writing.
Yeah, it's great.
It feels like it plays in two singles in a way. Like
Yeah,
it just,
yeah,
and
yeah.
And it's like the most beautiful game of tennis.
Did you each do lots of...
And you can see like Tom showing his admiration and respect for Robert, right? Robert's kind of like the man in the situation. You can see him, he's kind of leaning back. He doesn't have to prove anything. That's sort of what his body language is telling us. Whereas Tom's like leaning forward and engaged. And when Robert's speaking, like, you know, he's nodding his head and, you know, he's just making sure to show Robert his respect.
5 to 8 or 9 at the most, maybe less.
And you talk about your dreams and you talk about your life.
Right? It was silent there, but Tom was the first guy to fill in that silence, right? So it's interesting, the contrast between the Jimmy Fallon interview where it didn't feel like he felt any need to fill in the silence, whereas here it's like he's sort of like almost facilitating the conversation and demonstrating his communication skills in another way. And he's doing a good job here.
So you never wanted a regular type life.
And Bob, may I call you Bob?
Yeah.
Bob says, what's that, barbecues and ball games?
Yeah.
Yeah, Tom's sweet, man. He's sweet. That was endearing. That was more of like an endearing, charming side to Tom Hiddleston. Guys, if you want to watch my full uncut reaction, all you need to do is click on my Patreon link below. All my uncut reactions go on Patreon, and I react at least 3 times a month live. So if you're interested in any of that, you can click on my Patreon link below. Other than that, I appreciate you tuning in. My name is Max. I will catch you soon. Peace.